You have broken through unseen barriers, and everything you've been asking for is finally on its way. But here's the real question. Are you ready to receive it? For so long it felt like something was blocking your path. No matter how hard you tried, blessings seemed just out of reach. But something has changed. You've felt it. Signs, synchronicities, a deep knowing within your spirit. This isn't your imagination. This is confirmation that the universe has shifted in your favor. But before you step into this new reality, there's something you must understand. The Bible tells us in Galatians 6:9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That time is now. You have persevered. You have broken through spiritual barriers, and now the blessings that were once delayed are being released. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment. But listen carefully. Most people don't realize when they are on the edge of their breakthrough. They let doubt, fear, and hesitation pull them back just before their blessings arrive. Don't make that mistake. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you are about to hear will confirm everything your soul has been feeling. Before we dive in, if you believe in divine timing and feel that this message is meant for you, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future revelations. Now, let's uncover why everything is about to change for you, starting right now. Something within has shifted, hasn't it? That subtle yet undeniable feeling that things around you are changing, aligning in ways you never expected. At first, it might seem like mere coincidence, certain numbers appearing repeatedly, a conversation that speaks directly to your soul, a dream that lingers as if it carries a message from beyond. But let me tell you, this is not random. You have broken through an invisible threshold, a barrier that was once restricting the flow of divine blessings into your life. Many spend years feeling stuck, unable to explain why opportunities slip away, why prayers seem unanswered, why progress feels just out of reach. But when a person begins to awaken spiritually, the unseen chains start to break. The obstacles that once seemed immovable suddenly weaken, and doors that were bolted shut begin to unlock effortlessly. This is the divine shift, the moment when the universe acknowledges your transformation. It's as if the heavens have been waiting for you to recognize your own power, your connection to something far greater than this physical reality. Look at the story of Paul. He was blinded on the road to Damascus, Acts 9:3-9, a moment that forced him to see beyond the physical. His blindness was not a punishment, but an initiation, his spiritual awakening. And when he regained his sight, he wasn't the same man. He had stepped into his divine calling, breaking the barriers of his former self. The same happens to you. What felt like suffering, like confusion, like loss, was actually preparing you for this very moment, where clarity emerges, and you finally understand that you are not lost. You are being positioned. The universe has a way of testing those it chooses. Before breakthroughs, there are battles. Before elevation, there is resistance. But if you are experiencing this awakening, if you are sensing the shift, then know this: you have already overcome more than you realize. What you once perceived as delays were merely divine alignments. That overwhelming sense that something is coming is not your imagination. It is a sacred confirmation that you have stepped into the flow of divine purpose. And now, everything is different. The path before you is no longer one of struggle, but of revelation. The blessings that were once held back by invisible walls are now free to reach you. The universe has recognized your growth, and now the next stage begins. But before we move forward, let's address something crucial: the limiting beliefs that were once controlling your destiny without you even realizing it. For years, you may have carried beliefs that acted like unseen chains, keeping you from stepping into your full potential. These beliefs weren't always yours to begin with. Many were inherited, shaped by past experiences, by voices of doubt, by a world that conditioned you to think small. You're not meant for more. This is just how life is. Be realistic. These phrases sound familiar. They are the whispers of limitation, designed to keep you from realizing the vastness of what the universe has in store for you. But something has changed. You've started questioning them. The moment you decide that these beliefs no longer define you, the shift begins. When Jesus stood before the lame man at the pool of Bethesda, John 5:6-9, he didn't just heal his body. He asked, "Do you want to be made well?" The question was deeper than it seemed. It wasn't about physical healing alone, but about breaking free from the mindset of limitation. The man had spent years believing he was incapable of change, bound by the idea that his circumstances controlled his destiny. The moment he chose to believe otherwise, he was free. And so are you. The doubts that once held power over you have started to fade. You no longer accept the notion that some dreams are too big or that some blessings are only meant for others. Instead, you recognize that the very desires in your heart were placed there for a reason. The universe, the divine God himself, he did not create you to live a life of limitation. He created you with the capacity to expand, to receive, to co-create. And now, as these old beliefs crumble, a new reality emerges. Think of it this way. The walls you once thought were solid were never real to begin with. They were illusions, designed to keep you from walking into the fullness of your purpose. But now, those walls are gone. The opportunities you once thought were out of reach are within your grasp. The universe is responding to your newfound openness, your willingness to believe that more is possible. And when you believe, you make space for the miraculous. But belief alone is not enough. You must take the next step, being brutally honest with yourself about what you truly desire. Because now that you know you are limitless, you must ask yourself, what do you truly want? And more importantly, are you ready to receive it? For so long, you may have walked a path shaped by expectations. What society, family, or even your past self believed was the right direction. You followed the script, did what was expected, and yet something always felt off. A lingering restlessness, a quiet dissatisfaction, a whisper in your soul telling you that you were made for something more. But instead of listening, you buried it. You convinced yourself that settling was the safe choice, that your real desires were unrealistic, too ambitious, or even selfish. But here's the truth. God never intended for you to live a life that doesn't fulfill your spirit. Look at Solomon. He had everything, wealth, wisdom, power, yet in Ecclesiastes, he speaks of how meaningless it all felt without true alignment. His words serve as a reminder that material success, achievements, and even external validation mean nothing if they are not in harmony with what your soul truly seeks. And now, you are standing at a crossroads where honesty is required. You can no longer ignore the truth of what you really desire, whether it's a deeper spiritual connection, a bold career shift, a relationship that aligns with your soul, or simply the freedom to live on your own terms. It's time to acknowledge it. Why is this so important? Because when you are unclear or dishonest about what you want, the universe cannot align with you. If you pray for one thing but secretly desire another, you send mixed signals, creating confusion in your own manifestation. James 1:8 says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Indecision and self-doubt block the flow of blessings, but clarity is a magnet for miracles. The moment you own your desires, the moment you stop filtering them through the lens of fear or judgment, everything shifts. Maybe you've been afraid of your own greatness. Maybe you've worried about what others will say if you pursue your true calling. Maybe you've been conditioned to believe that playing small is the humble or responsible thing to do. But listen closely. Your dreams were placed in you for a reason. They are not random, they are divine. And the more you resist them, the more you create unnecessary struggle. It is only when you align with your true calling that doors begin to open effortlessly, as if the universe had been waiting for you to finally say yes to yourself. And now, here's the question you must ask. Are you ready to stop holding back? Because once you step into the fullness of your desires, once you embrace the path that was truly meant for you, there's no turning back. And that's where the real transformation begins. But there's something else. Something that has held many back, even after they've embraced their dreams. The fear of being too much. Let's talk about it. How many times have you dimmed your own light to make others comfortable? How often have you held back your thoughts, your talents, your ambitions, just so you wouldn't be seen as arrogant, dramatic, or too much? This fear is deeply ingrained in many, a subconscious belief that being fully seen, fully expressed, somehow makes you a target for judgment, rejection, or resentment. But let's get something straight. God did not create you to shrink. The very essence of your being was designed to shine, to expand, to glorify the divine through the fullness of your gifts. Moses struggled with this. When God called him to lead, he hesitated. "Who am I to speak?" he asked, doubting his own voice. Exodus 4:10. He feared he was inadequate. that he wasn't the right person for the task. But God wasn't looking for perfection, he was looking for obedience. And when Moses finally embraced his calling, miracles followed. The same applies to you. That fear of being too much is simply a test. Will you allow it to silence you, or will you step into the purpose you were created for? The truth is, playing small doesn't serve anyone. When you shrink yourself, you rob the world of the light you were meant to bring. The universe thrives on expansion. The divine essence within you longs to express itself in its fullness. Jesus himself said, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Matthew 5:14. He didn't say, "Dim your light so others don't feel insecure." He said to shine, because when you do, you give others permission to do the same. But let's be honest, stepping fully into your power will make some people uncomfortable. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will misunderstand it, envy it, or try to downplay it. That's part of the journey. Joseph's own brothers resented him for his dreams, Genesis 37:5-11, but that didn't change the destiny God had for him. He still rose to power. He still fulfilled his divine purpose. And so will you if you refuse to let the fear of others' opinions dictate your path. So here's the question. Are you ready to own your greatness? Are you willing to stop apologizing for your light and start walking in your divine authority? Because once you do, something incredible happens. Opportunities arise, the right people enter your life, and everything that once felt like a struggle begins to align. But there's one more thing. No one does it alone. And that's why the next step is crucial. Learning to accept help and build meaningful connections. Does this align with your vision, or would you like any changes? Você diz, okay. O ChatGPT diz, 5. Accepting help and meaningful connections. For so long, you may have believed that strength meant doing everything on your own. Maybe you've been the one others rely on, the one who carries the weight, the one who never asks for help, because you fear being seen as weak or incapable. But let's be clear, true strength is not isolation. Even Jesus, in his time on earth, surrounded himself with disciples, relied on friendships, and allowed others to support his mission. If the Son of God didn't walk alone, why should you? There's a reason. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls, one can help the other up." The universe was never designed for isolation. From the very beginning, creation was about connection, relationships, partnerships, divine alignments that elevate and support us. When you resist help, you block blessings. You close the door to people who were placed in your life to accelerate your growth. And right now, in this season of expansion, the universe is bringing the right individuals into your life. But the question is, are you open to receiving them? Think about it. How many times have you struggled when the answer was right in front of you, waiting for you to simply accept it? How many opportunities have you turned down out of pride, fear, or the belief that you had to do it all yourself? The truth is, breakthroughs often come through people. God works through relationships. The very thing you've been praying for might not come in the way you expect. It might come through a mentor, a friend, or even a stranger who crosses your path at the perfect moment. But there's more. Accepting help isn't just about receiving, it's about giving as well. When you allow others to support you, you create space for mutual blessings. You build a network of strength, faith, and divine connection that uplifts everyone involved. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." That means your growth isn't just for you. It's meant to inspire, strengthen, and elevate those around you. So here's the shift. Stop seeing help as a weakness and start seeing it as alignment. The right connections are coming into your life for a reason. Open your heart, receive the support, and watch how everything begins to move faster, easier, more divinely orchestrated than ever before. And as you do, remember, every rejection, every closed door, every seeming setback was never meant to stop you. It was meant to redirect you. Let's talk about that next. How many times have you faced rejection and thought, maybe this isn't meant for me? How often have doors closed, opportunities slipped away, or plans crumbled right when you thought you were on the verge of success? It's easy to see setbacks as failures, as signs that you're not good enough or that your dreams were too ambitious. But what if I told you that every single no, every detour, every unexpected challenge was actually divine redirection? What if every so-called failure was in reality the universe aligning you with something greater than what you originally asked for? Look at Joseph's story. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. If anyone had a right to feel defeated, it was him. Yet every setback positioned him closer to his destiny. What seemed like destruction was actually divine orchestration. Genesis 50:20 captures this perfectly. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. The things that felt like losses were actually stepping stones, and the same applies to you. That opportunity that didn't work out, that relationship that ended, that moment of disappointment, none of it was random. It was all a setup for something greater. But here's the problem. Most people give up too soon. They see a closed door and assume it's the end of the road, when in reality, it's just a reroute to something better. When you start viewing setbacks as divine instructions rather than punishments, everything changes. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in perspective is the difference between frustration and breakthrough. Think about how many times you've wanted something so badly, only to realize later that if you had received it at that moment, you wouldn't have been ready. The universe operates with perfect timing. What looks like delay is often divine preparation. The lessons you learn in the waiting, the resilience you build in the struggle, the wisdom you gain through challenges, these are the very things that prepare you for the blessings that are on their way. And that's the key. Your blessings are coming, but before they arrive, you have to recognize the signs. Because once you do, once you see beyond the temporary struggles and step into trust, something powerful happens. You reach the threshold of manifestation, and that's where we're headed next. You've felt the shift. You've broken through barriers, released limiting beliefs, embraced your true desires and refused to shrink your light. You've endured setbacks, learned from rejection, and trusted the divine redirection in your life. And now, something is changing. You can feel it. The air around you carries a different energy, as if unseen forces are moving in your favor. This is the threshold, the moment, right before everything aligns, the space between faith and fulfillment. Throughout Scripture, we see this moment again and again. Before the Israelites entered the Promised Land, they wandered. Before Joseph ruled, he was imprisoned. Before Jesus stepped into his full glory, he was tested in the wilderness. The pattern is clear. Right before breakthrough, there is always a period of waiting, a test of faith, a moment where nothing seems to be happening. But this is not the time to doubt. This is the time to prepare. Because just like a seed underground before it sprouts, your blessings are already in motion, even if you can't see them yet. But here's the thing, many people quit too soon. They mistake silence for absence. They assume that because nothing appears to be happening, God has forgotten them. But what if I told you that this quiet phase is where the most powerful shifts occur? The universe is recalibrating, aligning every detail to bring forth what you have been calling in. And now, all that's left is for you to stay ready, to hold on to your faith, to act as if your blessings have already arrived. This is where many fail. They reach the threshold but let fear and doubt pull them back. They hesitate, question, overanalyze. But manifestation doesn't work like that. It requires trust, radical trust. Jesus said in Mark 11:24, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Notice the wording. Believe that you have received it. Not hope or wish, but believe. That is the key. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality of your answered prayers, you accelerate the process. And now you stand at the doorway of something great. The energy around you has shifted, and all signs point to one truth. Everything you have prayed for is already on its way. But there's one final step, the hardest yet the most necessary. It's time to surrender, to release control, and fully trust the flow of the universe. Because when you do, that's when the impossible happens. That's when miracles unfold. Let's talk about it. You've done the work. You've broken limitations, stepped into your truth, faced rejection, and kept the faith even when the road was uncertain. And now, the final step is the hardest. Letting go, trusting, releasing control, and allowing the universe to move in ways beyond your understanding. This is where true manifestation happens, not through force, not through overthinking, but through surrender. So many struggle with this. They pray, they believe, but then they try to control every detail. They obsess over timelines, question whether things are really shifting, and let doubt creep in. But faith is not micromanagement. Faith is standing firm in the unseen. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." That means letting go of how things should happen and trusting that divine timing is always perfect. Think of a river. When you fight the current, you exhaust yourself. You struggle, you resist, you make the journey harder than it needs to be. But when you surrender to the flow, you move effortlessly, carried by forces greater than yourself. This is the universal law of alignment. The more you trust, the easier things become. The more you release fear, the faster blessings come. Your role is not to control, it's to prepare, to stay open, and to receive with gratitude. Jesus demonstrated this surrender in the Garden of Gethsemane. He prayed, "Not my will but yours be done." Luke 22:42. In that moment he released all resistance, fully trusting the divine plan, and in doing so, he stepped into his highest purpose. The same principle applies to you. Your greatest blessings are unlocked when you stop trying to force outcomes and start trusting that the universe is already working on your behalf. And so, here you are, on the edge of something extraordinary. The energy has shifted, the doors are opening, and all that remains is for you to step forward with faith. The miracles you've prayed for are already set in motion. Now let go, trust, receive, because the moment you do, everything changes. You've made it to the end, and now you know your breakthrough is closer than ever. But here's the question. Are you truly ready to receive everything you've been praying for? Too many people stop just before their blessings arrive. They doubt, they hesitate, and they let fear pull them back. But not you. You've seen the signs. You've felt the shift, and now it's time to step fully into what's meant for you. Tell me in the comments, what was the biggest confirmation you received in this message today? I want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and how this resonates with your journey. Let's build this community together. And before you go, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss these powerful revelations. Your spiritual journey doesn't end here. There's so much more ahead. In fact, your next step might be waiting in the video that's appearing on your screen right now. Click on it and keep going. Your breakthrough is happening. This is Celestial Truths, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed.